big old contraction on top of the camera.
That's yours now.
What?
And this backpack.
What?
You got the setup. You got the batteries in there. So this morning while I was shooting, I was actually shooting at base ISO 3200. So I hope it worked out really well. I haven't been able to test the dual native ISO on this camera yet. So hopefully it wasn't like too muddy or grainy. I don't know. You guys let me know in the comment section. It's pretty crazy. So you said she's the 4th soccer player? Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah.
That's really crazy. It's the Hall of Fame right now that we're in. We just pulled in. So me, Isaac, and Taurus all had the opportunity of waking up well before 5 a.m. this morning to drive all the way down to Austin, Texas to film interviews for the 4th ranked women's soccer player in the nation. Now, to my understanding, a lot of these rankings are based off age group, but to say the least, Lexi is a well-known individual in the soccer community. So while we're in town, we decided we might as well vlog and create some content before heading back to Dallas-Fort Worth. All right guys, so we just got done with the shoot. Honestly, it was a lot of fun. So we rode in pretty quick to the shoot, shot pretty quick, and overall, I think the image turned out really, really well. I would love to know what you guys think in the comment section. Now we're hanging out in downtown for about an hour and a half right before we head back to the DFW area. But before I actually get into the topic that I want to talk about in this video today, let's go over and get some coffee from one of my favorite coffee shops in Texas.
My baby, my Valentine. Can I hit the making what temperature there is? If you leave me a good time, I swear. You are like the oxygen I need to survive. I'll be honest. I'm loving the thought of me. I am so obsessed. I want to chop your heart. Never need a back and it's real. Open up, make us feel. Yeah, my love, one thing. Make a bad man sing.
So today with me, I have two different lenses. The first one that I have over here is the Sigma 14-24, and it is a 2.8 lens. And this is a really, really good lens. I've been really enjoying it. And right here, we have the legendary Sony 16-35 2.8 lens. So I bought this guy for my vlogs, and I actually got this guy for real estate because I found that 16 wasn't wide enough for me whenever I'm in a home, shooting different commercial properties or just real estate homes. And so I got this guy to shoot those properties with. And at one point, I just so happened to flip the camera around and look at myself with this lens on, and I was very surprised at the image quality once I got it back to my computer and opened it up in DaVinci Resolve. I found that this lens was very, very sharp, and the autofocus was like crazy good. Now, about 2 months ago, I decided to sell all of my lenses and only invest in G Master lenses because I thought that they were the only lenses that could have as good of autofocus as you can get on these cameras. However, I was very sadly wrong because I have really enjoyed the autofocus from this Sigma lens, and honestly, I think that it's much sharper than this lens as well. If you look back at some of the B-roll that I shot at the coffee shop, you guys can be the judge. I haven't saw it yet, but so far when I've been looking at the footage from this lens, I've been crazy surprised. So you guys let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think this lens is sharper than the king of vlogging that everyone knows, the 16-35 2.8?
I did so many shots of like where I'm like walking. So I had to like put the camera down, walk, go back and walk. Other girls were like looking at me weird because I kept turning around.
We got the slave driver right here.
He called me a slave driver.
Okay. He's just making us run for free.
Bro, it's hot. I'm like soaking wet right now out here, y'all. All right, so let's talk about some of the things that I consider to be a negative about the Sigma. First of all, the biggest thing that I'm sure a lot of people already know about, and probably the reason why people don't use it, is because you actually can't use ND filters on the front of this lens, or at least not without some type of major modifications. The lens hood is actually fixed on this lens, and the front element is so bubbled out that it actually causes you to not be able to use any ND filters on this lens. So right now, to actually obtain this image that you see right now, I'm shooting at 4K 30, which means my shutter speed is double, which is 1/60. I'm actually having to shoot at f/18 to maintain the exposure fixing my exposure. So another thing to keep in mind that I may not necessarily consider as a negative is the fact that this lens does not have any stabilization built into the lens itself. So that means you are relying on the camera body itself to have pretty good stabilization features where the background's not going to be wobbling and things like that. But right now I'm shooting on the lens, and as you guys can see, I mean, the in-body stabilization on the Sony a7 IV is pretty good. So I'm not really too concerned about the fact that this lens does not have stabilization. But as I'm moving the camera around, what do you guys think? Now, to be completely honest, that's pretty much the only two negatives that I've noticed about this lens. Now, let's actually go over to the Sony lens and talk about some negatives that I noticed on that lens. The first negative that I want to say is the price. This guy is like really expensive. Now, I didn't pay full price for this because I'm smart and I went to some pawn shops, looked around, found this guy for $1,300, and I actually traded them all of my lenses that I did have. And I think I only ended up having to pay like $300 out of pocket. What up, homie?
What's up?
And then the other negative that I want to say is that this lens actually zooms externally, which is something that I don't like, but I do like this. Keep dancing, keep dancing, keep dancing. Hey, 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 hey. Wait, flash mob. Wait, no, don't flash me. That's not what I meant. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like when they just start dancing.
They get out and they start dancing. But yeah, I don't like that this lens zooms externally because it's not really good for gimbals. The other one zooms internally, which leads me to the benefits of both lenses. Let's throw back on the 14mm Sigma and talk about some of the things that I do like about both the lenses. Yo, this is my first time ever driving a Tesla and I'm really nervous right now. I feel like I'm not gonna know what to do. I literally reached down to grab this. So what do? I just...
It's like a Mercedes, basically. It's stuck. There you go.
Press brake.
So like put your foot on the brakes and then put it in drive.
Oh my gosh. It's so crazy I don't hear it. I feel like I'm grinning so big I'm trying not to trying not to.
I mean, the only reason you hear anything is because of the air conditioning. Otherwise it'd be like completely silent.
I'm driving like a grandma. I'm scared.
Ain't nothing wrong with grandma.
Oh, it just showed that car coming over in my lane and getting back over. Dude, it feels so good. Oh, snap.
It's crazy, right? It does it. Like it's gonna slow down.
So I had a ton of fun with the guys in Austin, and I also had fun driving a Tesla for the very first time. And so now let's actually dive into a few things that I love about each of these lenses before I jump off this video, because currently it is 1 a.m. So first, let's talk about the Sigma. I really like this lens because, again, the focal length that I get, the sharpness that I get, and also the price that I get. The other thing that I really like about this lens that really sets itself apart from this other lens over here, the Sony, is the fact that you get that internal zoom. Now this is perfect for a gimbal because that means at any length you're going to be perfectly stabilized. Now moving over here to the Sony, what I really like about this guy is the fact that, again, you can put an ND filter on the front of it, which is very important if you want to get a shallow depth of field when vlogging. And that's something that a lot of people really go for nowadays. It kind of sets the video apart, and I wish I did have that in a lot of the shots that I did in Austin. Now the other thing that I like about this lens is just simply the fact that it is from the camera manufacturer. I'm a big fan of using what the manufacturer has made for their cameras because a lot of times it works the best with their different systems. And honestly, you may can say the same for this lens compared to the Sigma. I'm not sure. All I know is that I really do like both lenses, and so I plan to keep both of them and use both of them for my vlogging content. However, I do wish that there was some quick, easy solution for putting an ND filter on this guy, and if there was a solution for that, then this would be my all-time favorite vlogging lens. Now the other thing that I really liked about the Sony when shooting B-roll at the coffee shop is the fact that I can actually get much closer at 35mm compared to 24mm. I didn't think that was a big deal until I actually started shooting with both of them, and then I noticed that it was actually a pretty big gap that I was missing out on, and so that's also something that I would keep in mind when thinking about vlogging with these lenses. Alright guys, and so that is pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, don't ask me because I probably can't answer them for you. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead and ask me in the comment section below, and I would love to help you guys out if I can. With that being said, if you guys are interested in color grading, then I recommend that you check out this video right over here.